subscribe, push now, now.
Do you also have a question for our guest about their country? Leave it below in the comments and we'll invite them to answer again.
Hello everyone, I'm talking here with Fernando. Hey Fernando, can you introduce yourself first?
Sure thing. Hello, hi everyone. My name is Fernando. I am 25 years old. I currently live in Santa Clara, California. I've been living here for a little over a year, and previously I actually lived over in Seattle, where I happened to meet Tomas through a mutual friend. And today, I guess I'll be answering some questions regarding my country and just my personal life. I don't know what you want me to. Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I literally just came in here with an open mind, and I'm pretty sure Tomas has some stuff in store for me. Nice to meet you all.
I have some questions for you about Mexico. I'm really interested in this country, especially that I actually had tickets to go there in this April, and then coronavirus happened. Unfortunately.
Yeah, fire away. Anything that I know. Also, I should probably put a forewarning for any Mexican that is watching this. By no means I am an expert. I just want to throw that out there. That way, if anyone is, blowing up the comments, they will know. Like, feel free to correct me if I misspoke.
Right. Okay. So first is something more generic, but probably pretty important. So, what part of Mexico do you recommend the most?
That's a tough one, simply because, I lived most of my life in central Mexico. So there is Aguascalientes, Mexico, where I'm from, which is a beautiful city. I would definitely recommend anybody that, is tired of, seeing skyscrapers and, wants to really break out of the big city life, just to go and, visit what it is like to live in the smaller city within the Mexican region. There's obviously, as any other part of Mexico, there's a ton of food, there's a ton of culture, there's a ton of music. So that's a tough question. You're gonna get me in trouble here right off the get-go. But I definitely would recommend, if you're you're not into skyscrapers and hotels and going clubbing, I think Aguascalientes, Mexico is a great place to go. And also, you won't break the wallet. I don't know if that's the right term, but you definitely will, compared to other regions around where I'm from, you will definitely save a lot of money in food and just in the place where you'll stay. I definitely would recommend that. Now, if you're more into the big city, there's no surprise that the big cities in Mexico is Mexico City itself. 25, 26 million people living in a big city. Last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, you all. But also, there's Monterrey, Mexico, which is also a beautiful city, and I would love to go one of these days. But for Mexico City,
After some technical difficulties, we were talking about what part of Mexico do you recommend the most? And we stopped somewhere around where you were talking about Mexico City.
Yeah. I think I think Mexico City definitely has, you can't run out of things to do. It's one of the biggest cities in the world, and you're gonna find nightlife. You're gonna find, in the evenings you can go on a stroll. You're gonna find tons and tons and tons of food. Definitely gonna meet very interesting characters. So it really comes down to what type of personality and what type of person you are. I'm personally more on the slow tempo, like chill vibe. So I definitely tend to gravitate towards places like my hometown, of course.
Yeah.
And there's the beach, Cancun. It's definitely one of my favorites. For anyone that has never been to a Mexican beach, I think if you start with Cancun, that might set the bar a little too high. But I definitely, and not to throw shade at any other Mexican beach, but Cancun is beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite places.
I know when I was making plans to go there, there was this island, Holbox. Have you heard of it?
No, where's that?
I know it's like super close to Cancun. Like from Cancun, you take a ferry, maybe half an hour or something, and then you get to Holbox, where there's like a lot of
like a cenote.
Like a what? Sorry.
Oh god, like a cenote, which is it's just basically like a cave.
Oh
and there's
no.
a beach inside. Yeah.
No, it's like what I saw interesting there was where like at night in the water you see all those little lights and flickers and stuff.
Interesting. You see, this is why. Are you sure you want to ask me these questions, Thomas?
Yeah.
I feel like you know more about my country.
No, this is just like what I was researching about when I was looking at what's around Cancun.
This is great. I actually just looked it up. Isla Holbox.
Yeah.
This looks very well. If you or I ever go down there, we definitely know where to go next.
Yeah. And also I saw that kind of close to Cancun there's a Chichen Itza. Is that how you pronounce it?
Chichen Itza.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it. But that's exactly, like definitely a very historical piece. Also, if you ever go to Mexico City, check out the pyramids. Go to Tenochtitlan.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And honestly, I'm amazed by the fact that it's still standing to this day. Like that's pretty old, like centuries old.
Mm-hmm. I see. So, Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. It's probably the most famous event in Mexico. And I was going to ask if it's more of a thing in Mexico City or is it everywhere around Mexico?
Definitely everywhere. Obviously, each region is going to be celebrating Dia de los Muertos on a different scale. I know my hometown, shameless plug, I know we like to throw a really nice celebration by, there's this place called Isla San Marcos, mm-hmm. which is just basically, it's an artificial island that we created where you can just walk around and visit different stands, and it's beautiful. I mean, you're going to find food, you're going to find music, definitely a lot of people rejoicing themselves and just walking around. And obviously, there's other regions like Mexico City, which I'm fairly sure you're going to find mega parties, very different scale. And I just don't know enough about the beaches and how they go about celebrating Dia de los Muertos. I'm pretty confident there's some type of celebration because it's a spread nationwide.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how big it will be. So I'm sure regardless of where you are in Mexico, if you happen to be in Mexico from October 31st to November 2nd, chances are you're going to see either a skull or an altar or a flower, which is called Flor de Cempasúchil, which is pretty common to use in altars in Mexico.
So if I go there, can I get my face painted like that, or is it not an okay thing to do culturally?
Man, no one is gonna care. Like honestly, people want you to be part of our culture. I think what I've gotten from my visits, especially when I bring either my girlfriend who's not Mexican, or friends that are from different regions or cultures, and I bring them over to Mexico, they're always shocked by how Mexicans want to Mexicanize you. Like, as soon as you set foot there, they're gonna try to show you their culture, show you their customs. I obviously will never be offended if you had some face paint. If anything, it's just playful and you're part of the party.
Cool. So, one of maybe the favorite subject of people, food.
Oh god. Food in Mexico in the same sentence is dangerous. Let me just
Dangerous?
put it that way. Dangerous in the sense of it's limitless. Like, you're gonna find each region has just so many plates, so many different dishes that are original from the region, and then you have dishes that are not from the region that are also being sold within the region. So definitely an endless pit. My personal favorites, if I was to recommend some food, I will say gorditas, which is basically, think about it as two like flour tortillas with a small opening on the top. And usually these are handmade, and they heat them up, and then they put different guisados, which is basically different meat or cacti, and often we actually eat that.
Wow.
And you just throw it in there, and you just eat it. It's delicious. It's cheap. Like, you can find it anywhere, and obviously you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with any food over there. Like, that's just my personal favorite. I don't know if there's any specific dish, or I don't know if there's any specific region of like where you would like to know more about their food.
Is the food generally like super spicy? Can foreigners handle it?
You know, that's a great question. I will say, if you don't like spicy food, you're gonna have a hard time adapting to some of the dishes. Not to say, like, there's definitely a lot of options, but to really get really understand the Mexican dishes, you're gonna need to get familiar with spice. Definitely very common, especially if you go to a food truck. Very, very common for someone to throw in salsa without you asking. So you gotta be very careful. You gotta be very careful.
I mean, I love spice personally. I'm asking in general.
In general.
Yeah.
Like, in general, if spicy food if Mexican food is spicy.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So about food, you mentioned food trucks. So there are so many Mexican food trucks around here. So they are like a lot more around Mexico, like everywhere. Is that a thing?
Yes, I personally don't know where that food truck came from, or where that food truck originated. However, I can assure you, no matter which part of Mexico you're in, you're gonna find some type of food truck or some type of taqueria. It's just ubiquitous. Like, you're gonna find it anywhere, kind of like in the U.S., where you can just see a taco truck. Over there, it's like that, but better. So I definitely would recommend it.
I see. What are prices if you go to a taco truck, let's say?
Yeah. So taco trucks, food trucks, this is why they're so great. They are amazingly inexpensive, at least for us Americans, right? It's not uncommon to find a food truck or a taco truck that charges you 50 cents to $1.
Wow.
on a taco, right? Which for us is like,
I would get fat there.
well, definitely another issue with Mexico. But there's definitely, like I said, with food, it's just endless. You're gonna find a lot of very, very inexpensive and delicious options.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely come in with an empty stomach.
Yeah.
That's my best recommendation.
I have a curiosity. Is it legal to drink alcohol on the street?
Good question, and I have a funny anecdote with that one too. But no, as definitely there are regions where it is allowed to have a drink and walking around the street. And then again, I'm gonna use my hometown as a point of reference because during Feria, which is during April and May, it is completely okay to walk around with a beer or walk around with pitcher-sized beer, I should say, or just an alcoholic drink. But we have designated areas, right? Like you can't go past a certain point. So you do gotta be very, very careful, as there are definitely people and officers that they will ask you either to throw that away or they would actually drive you to the police station.
Ouch.
As I've come to learn, last time I went to Mexico, I actually had a friend who was not from Mexico and actually got in trouble. And we ended up okay, right? But obviously, if you are coming in with a short visit, you don't want to go to a police station and spend 2 or 3 hours of your day. Funny anecdote, definitely not a great experience.
I see.
So to answer your question, no. Like, definitely designated areas in certain locations, but no.
So you can lay down on the beach with a Corona beer or something.
It will depend on the day, and I guess it would definitely depend on the region. If you're in the Puerto Vallarta or Cancun, I personally don't think it will be a big fuss. It's usually when you're in public spaces where there's going to be people from all ages. Once it is nighttime, I think you can get away with it. Mm-hmm. Definitely will depend on... but definitely, legally speaking, not allowed. How good is it enforced? I can't tell you.
I see. So, a question about some aspects of the culture. Like, can you talk about aspects like, I don't know, personal space, touching, handling and displaying emotion, things like that?
Yeah. Mexicans tend to be very, very affectionate people. So completely okay. Completely normal, honestly, to see either a couple making out in the park or just laying down, hand holding, completely okay. As a matter of fact, like, expect to be kissed on the cheek if you meet a Mexican family. That's just a sign of courtesy, and that's just a welcoming. Basically, they're just welcoming you.
You do
wherever you enter
one
their
cheek?
home. Yeah, we do one cheek.
Oh, it doesn't matter which one? Or?
Doesn't matter which side. However, as one of my friends come to learn, typically this is between a man and a woman.
Yeah. Where
you just kiss on the side. Men to men, definitely not a thing in our culture. It's mostly like men and women. Men to men, we tend to hug each other. I've seen some people kiss men to men. Like, for example, when I was a kid, I used to kiss my grandpa on the cheek as a sign of respect. Definitely, I don't know how prominent that aspect of our culture is in different regions, but definitely An interesting observation.
Yeah, in Romania we do like both chicks.
Regardless of sex.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. So, see, that's super interesting. And our culture, I guess, is just definitely would be the machismo type of culture, because Mexican men tend to, have that. It's no surprise that we tend to be very male predominantly dominate in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done in that realm, but do know that obviously there's a lot of homophobia and a lot of sexism. So I will definitely be conscientious, especially if you're a person within that spectrum. When you go to Mexico, just respect certain boundaries, because some people, it makes them really, really uncomfortable.
What are some beauty standards in Mexico?
You're asking the wrong person for this one. I guess, well, in which regard? Like for men or?
No, for women mainly.
Beauty standards.
Yeah.
As to like what is okay to wear,
No, I mean like I don't know. For example, in certain regions, in certain countries, people like to be tan. In certain regions, people like to be really pale. In certain regions, they like blondes. In certain regions, and so on.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. In terms of beauty standards, from what I've seen, typically, I don't know how much it has changed throughout the time, but typically, people that are fair skin or white skin tends to be, the aspiration for a lot of women. Obviously, Mexico being as diverse as it is, it's not uncommon to see people from all shades and colors. And shout out to Mexican women, you all are beautiful. But it's just, I will say, definitely will depend on the region. I definitely know of certain regions where white skin is predominantly favored, so it's not very uncommon to use sunscreen or some whitening products. Not as prominent as other cultures that I know of, but I do know that that's definitely a thing. In terms of body size, Mexican women definitely like to, have be in great shape. So it's also not very uncommon to find them either very, very active or they just like to take care of themselves in that regard too. At least in my city.
Cool. One last thing that I want to ask you. What do you know about Romania?
Oh boy. You're asking the wrong person. I personally don't know much about Romania. I would love to know more, but shoot, I do know that you all make some amazing alcoholic drinks. And at least from what I've come to learn from you, right? I know that you all brew your own alcohol, which I thought it was super interesting. Other than that, I am personally not super well versed with Romania or their culture. I also know, obviously, Romanian derives from Latin, so there's some similarities in our languages. But yeah, you got me. I don't know much about Romania, which I should change that.
It was just a curiosity, like people that maybe haven't even come in contact with me to see what do they know about it and stuff like that.
No, I think that's great, because that definitely brings more. I mean, as a foreigner, I want to know more about different cultures. And I think in America, we don't do a good enough job about really getting out of our way to
Yeah.
understand a different culture or just to learn a new language. So I think it's really, really cool that you're doing this. And yeah, keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you for answering all my questions. You had great answer. I think people watching have learned a lot of interesting things, and so did I.
Awesome. No, well, anytime. I definitely enjoyed talking to you. Obviously, it's been a while since I last talked to you, and you know, I'm happy to do this any other time.
Now, out of the video, I have a question. So,
Yeah.